Hi guys, and welcome again to another lesson. Today we are doing surds. One of the most important parts of surds is that they can be expressed as an exponent. So if I have, say, x to the m, what I want to say is that this is squared. So there's what they call a ghost 2. So when you see this without a number, so if it was a 3, then it would be just to the 3. But if you see it like this with just nothing, then we know that there's that ghost 2 here. Ghost meaning it's there, but you can't see it. So I'll just do it like with the little dotted lines there. So there's a 2 there, which you don't see. That can be expressed as an exponent. So it can be expressed as x, and m is on the top of the x, so that's at the top. And then the n is at the bottom. So the reason I'm showing you that is because I want to do an exponential question just using surds, because we didn't really do a complicated one in the last lesson. I think maybe that we should have done that. So let's say we had x to the n, y to the minus, we'll make it a number, 3 times z. And then let's make this a, let's make that an x to the 2n, and we'll make this a y to the n. Okay, and we have to simplify this. Well, one of the things we can do, let's complicate it a little bit more. Let's put a 2 here. Let's put a minus 2 here. Then we incorporate everything. Okay, so one of the exponential rules was that if you have 1 over x to the minus 2, that can be written as x to the 2. So what we can do is we can flip this whole thing, first of all. So the bit in yellow, okay, I'm just going to flip that around because it's minus 2, and I'm going to make it plus 2. So the x to the 2, and that was at the bottom, goes here at the top. The y to the n goes to the top. We have x to the n now goes to the bottom. Y to the minus 3 goes to the bottom. And z goes to the bottom. Okay. And now it becomes 2. Okay. Because this was in a root, what you can do, okay, let me just, I'll do the root in pink so that we can follow what's going on. So that was in pink. Okay, well, what I can do is I can make that, instead of the root, I can put it to the power of a half. Because something we just need to bear in mind, and I'll do it in, is that square root of x is equal to x to the half. Okay, so instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that root sign to the half. And for my other exponent law, 2 times a half is just 1. So that's from the exponent law that says x to the n to the power of m, you just times them. So it's x to the n times m. So that was the rule we did in the last lesson. If you didn't see that, just check out the lesson on exponents. Okay, so now this middle just the 2 and the half cancel. And so what I'm left with is just what was originally there. X to the 2 and y to the n over x to the n, y to the minus 3, z. And then I can simplify this. This is the 2n. So this n goes to the top and becomes minus. So x to the 2n minus n. This yn goes to the top and also the y to the minus 3 can go to the top and become positive. So that becomes y to the n plus 3. And then z just goes to the bottom. Okay. And then 2n minus n is n. So it's x to the n, y to the n plus 3 over z. So that's the sort of exponential equation that you can expect, or expression that you can expect that's more close to what you can get, not something simple that you saw maybe in grade 8 and 9. Okay, so now let's just quickly look at surds. Well, for surds, you can actually put them in your calculator. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but just to say this. If I have root 3 times root 4, that I can say is root 3 times 7. Sorry, 3 times 4, which is root 12. Right? So I can multiply the whatever is inside. So when you simplify roots, basically what you can do is that 12 is technically, we know, was 3 times 4. Right, individually, and the square root of 4 is 2. So what you'd see is 2 root 3. So that's how surds work. Surds, we know, can also be expressed as an exponent. And so if you have something like x times, say, 3x, that is you times whatever's inside of the surd. So it becomes root 3x squared. And then the 3 goes, the x squared becomes, when you square root a squared, the squareds cancel each other out. Because we know that the square root of x is the same as x to the half. So the square root, I'll do it above, of x squared is just going to be x to the 2 times a half, which is x. So this will be root 3 times x squared. Sorry, times x. Okay, but as I said, you can actually use your calculator for these to simplify them. So say you get the square root of, and we make it, say, 28. There we go. Just have to change the mode of the calculator to equation mode. So 28 would equal 2 root 7. And just to see how we did that, we had 28 is the same as 4 times 7. And so the square root of 4 is 2. So then it was 2 root 7. Okay, and then you can use your fraction button as well. So when you get a quadratic equation, you can put it in the calculator quite simply. Okay, so that's surds. Just a quick revision. Next time we'll be doing factorizing, which is now getting more closer and closer to what we're going to be doing in our final matric paper. But you do get surds and exponents in the paper, so we do need to just brush up on that. Right, So I'll see you in the next lesson.